Right, Sunday today. I didn't have a shower this morning. I didn't brush my hair. I haven't shaved, and I don't care because it is 18 degrees. And look how beautiful today is. And it's my day off. The old 4.1 litre 6. I took the air conditioning compressor off. I'm giving it to a guy called Jason, who's been helping me out with. He's helping me out with the grill and the hubcap and headlight lenses and heater fans, just everything. I said, what can I give you? And he wouldn't mind this. This looks kind of genuine. But check this out. The bracket from the top is just straight from a steel yard. I mean, is that the right one? It just doesn't look it to me. Nor does this, because it was interfering with the top hose, and someone has put a bit of sort of other hose over it for the alternator adjuster. I'm sure the car had genuine air. Oh, I've got to plug those up, the things fell off. But it just strikes me as a bit odd. Which is the right side? Oh, they've got it's the same on the other side. I'll have to cut that a bit shorter. I've just got that there, just seal against the dash. I'll just wash that other pot and stick it up there. And then I think we can put the main part of the dash in. Right. Now, this has the potential to go quite badly because I don't remember how I took it off. And because I haven't got any dealership experience in removing these things, I haven't got it ingrained in my memory, so to speak. Where the hell does that go? Does that go through here? No. It goes under. It goes in there. It goes in that hole. Hang on a minute. There's a hole back here. I think it goes in there somewhere. Yeah, it does. And because I'm a clot and I lost some of the fasteners, it's not making my life too easy. It's dirty as well, so I'll just clean it in situ. I'm just going to hang it for now. There's a ledge there, but I think these screws go through the dash, through the padded bit as well, so I'm just going to hang it here for now with this, hoping it doesn't break, which it bloody well could, and then putting those bottom ones in to support it. And I'll clean it, did I say? I'll clean it in situ, because pardon me, I have to sort of think about it slowly. And I broke the bloody side where the brackets are too, which is ridiculous. I don't know how I did it. It doesn't look too bad, although I got this wrong. Where's that control thing? What do I do with it? There it is. I should never have unplugged these. I've got the manual, so it's all good, but on a Falcon, they're sort of slotted. There's a little slot under there, and they're sort of held in this position here, but on the Fairlane, they're right up the top. And I couldn't work out why the vacuum lines were over here. So I've got to figure, I've lost a bag of stuff, right? I've lost the brackets for here, the handbrake bracket as well, and it's not in the plating thing, so I've got to find those. But I'm not dissatisfied with what we've done today. It's very brittle now. I don't know what it was like when it was new, but you know, it's really brittle, and it's a good thing I took it all out in bits instead of trying to muscle out, you know, as one, if that makes any sense. The glove box, for example, just floats, but it's got foam rubber stuck around it so it doesn't rattle. I mean, it's pretty substandard stuff when you think about it. But there's not much point in moaning. This is pretty dirty, but I'm going to stick it in anyway. And I'm paranoid I'm going to split it because there's a certain amount of integrity that's lost in this piece, just for the fact it's old. But you know, the XC was like that. It was really brittle plastic. If you compare to the older models, there's no comparison really. But I've got to kind of line this up with the sort of back part of the dash and get it into these little plugs. It's not going to be easy. But I'm pretty dismayed with what I've seen. I kind of thought Ford was better than that. And I'm wearing the right blasted glasses too. Hang on, let me just get a start. Because if you only put them in part way, the plugs pull out. It's like win-win. Anyway, I've got one. Oh. And the other thing I had to do was I had to put a vacuum feed for the engine, and I ran out of vacuum lines, so I had to rob one off the engine going in. And I had this side of the dash pinned, so I can just pull that out, because now it's held in on the other side. Because otherwise the thing's going to fall, because these brackets down here, which are thin plastic, have broken. And I don't think that's very good. They didn't even, look, here's the bracket, screws into the side here, and the dash sits on this ledge, and the part that sits on this ledge is 2mm thick. I mean, why? And the courtesy lamp, the floor well lamp, goes in there. And I think that is absolutely terrible. But, you know, it's one thing to make a car to a price, but that's just, that's very poor, I think. This is a couple of cuts. That's the top door hinge there for the XA. These are actually off an XC, and I'm a little bit worried about what might be lurking under here. There's a whole lot of lag cum sealer type stuff. So it could be knackered, but it doesn't matter really, because what I intend to do is unzip this and use it as a template to make parts for the XA. This is for the sedan, not the wagon. I'm sure the wagon ones are knackered as well, but you know, we'll wait and see. Okay, that's surprisingly good news. The XW had some rust in this area, but it was, I just made up some patches for it. It wasn't that big of a deal. So we'll just see what lurks under here. And the guy said he thought they were alright, but he hadn't taken this off. But if I can retrofit this to the XA, that's half the battle won. There is a little hole there, so there's some rust under there, but that doesn't worry me, because I mean, it's bound to happen. You're not going to get clean stuff every time. But if that's a bit thin there, I will just put a patch in. But I think what's prudent is to take off these spot welds, take that whole section off, and looking under there, there's a little bit of crap. Why wheel it? And I'll do it with Epotech. There's another bit up there that I can see. Yeah, if you look up in there, you can see it. Now, I have to fix all this to put in the XA. Look, he's even cut through the, what's that thing called? The vent pod. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off layer by layer, right? There's spot welds there and all along here, patch it up, make sure it all fits, then take the next layer off and do it like that. And then hopefully I've got some really good quality parts to repair the XA. Now the other side, he's given us more metal. He's even cut off the... Damn it, sorry to cut myself. He's even cut off the trip rail moulding. But again, same sort of thing. We've got rust here. I mean, mine is all chewed out, all down here. So this is, you know, a better beginning. But pardon me, we've also got part of the plenum chamber, this area here. So that's cool. I'm actually really happy about that. The wagon. Oh. Look how he's cut the wagon one off. Lots of lichen. I think my wagon's better in here. I'm not sure. I've got to take the window out. But again, mine's all sort of knackered. Gee, I'm bleeding. Mine's all sort of knackered in this area here, so I'll pick off what I need. And, you know, then I'll patch it accordingly. That's all seam sealer. Anyway. I took this trim off. Look at this guy. Oh, gnarly. Where you go, mister? Don't go down there, because I've got to take that out too. Hang on. Didn't expect to see a big huntsman there. He's in this channel. There he is. Can you see him? I'll just stick him on the ground and let him run away. There you go. You go. Do what you need to do. That gave me a bit of a fright. Oh, this is pretty knackered. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to take that off. What's this? Wiring? I don't know, just mastic type stuff. I don't even know how you got in there. They can fit into any space, those guys. I don't know. And I'm just making it so I can take that outer skin off, because the outer skin actually looks pretty good. Just doing a bit of cake decorating. It's the fun stuff where it's not really work, it's more, you know, pleasure type thing. There's just tow hooks. I just took everything out of it. There's a slot there it sits in. The canister can go on, but I've got to clean it, and it's got some nice white print on it, so I've got to clean it carefully and just, I might just blow some clear on it or something. Just rattle can clear. Lower control arms can go on, kind of, and what's the other thing? Radius rods. I've also got to make up some, bracket to go under here where that's loose and it's snapped off. And I was sort of cursing about that. Don't like this sort of stuff, but what do you do? Some globes look a bit worn. These are supposed to be 3 watt, not 5 watt for the cluster, because they can do damage. That vacuum line is the residual from here. All the vacuums connected, except that one which goes down to this actuator down here for the fresh air vent. What else? Stuff, really. Those earth points can go on, but I'll wait till I've made the brackets for those. Coupling's ready to receive a steering column, but I'm not putting that in until sort of last thing. I want to do all the dash stuff first because it's just easier without the column there. Right, so I've got to find a, what do you call it? My small tripod. I'm just putting these in. I think they're grill mount things. Just little clips that go on the sun. So what happened, right, is I've tightened up, when it was in focus, that idler arm bracket. I put the pitman arm on, tightened up both of these, but I'm trying to film underneath and I can't without this small tripod. I'm just wondering if Rosie might have taken it. She quite often indulges. I do for the grill. There's 2 left. I've got to find this tripod. It's driving me bonkers. And normally, and I've got to also put their control arms. Hang on. I've got, damn it, where are they? Power steering lines. I can put those in. Hang on, what's in here? That's for the steering column. And there's also, that hood. That looks actually pretty Mickey Mouse. I'm looking for a new plater though. There's one in Ring and I'm going to try him. The problem I've got with the plater that I'm using is really inconsistent. You get this back, then you get stuff back in a better colour because it's a bit yellow. And you always get stuff back that's missing plating. Like, not that's just discoloration, but that has to go down there. So once I put that on the handbrake cable in, I'll put the drag link and some control arms just for the sake of it to get them out of the way. But I've got to find this bloody tripod, and I've not the foggiest what the devil I did with it. Oh, and I've got to test that radio. That might need belts and all sorts of things too. But gradually this stuff's getting used up, so that's going in the XA. That's going in the EJ. No spare auto trannies around. And as I was going through the shed, I'm finding XC door handles, good ones that are paintable for the GXL. And inadvertently there's two on the, there's two on the wagon. I've got the base plate and the pole, jack pole plated, the base plate's painted that nice blue. I've got this, I think that's the XC one. That could be XW, I'm not sure. XY. XY and XW should be the same anyway. Where is this? God, there's one tripod. I might have to go with that. I've got one that sort of sits on the ground, and it's really good because it's really squat and very sturdy. These things are terrible, but I've not the foggiest. This 6, what I'm going to do, things like this tree, it has got power brakes, isn't it? But I don't know that they'll work. It doesn't matter if they don't work, I couldn't care less. But a lot of this stuff, you know, there's a funny law actually, because if you put a modern engine in an old car, I'm thinking of 302 rollers here, the emissions have to marry up to the thing of the most recent date. So if it's an old engine in a new car, the emissions have to marry up to what the new car requires, which is why people don't put old engines in new cars. But if you get a 302 Windsor, put a manifold and a carby on, by rights it isn't roadworthy because it's not going to meet the emissions. So in the XA, with this engine, theoretically speaking, it should maintain an EGR valve and all this sort of stuff. I can leave that there. But all the heater unions will be blocked off because it hasn't got a... I'm not going to use the heater in it. I just want this thing to move. Power steering bracket will come off, so I'll need to find how the 250's, non-air conditioned 250's alternator was, because I can't remember. And we'll just, you know, this is a nice engine. And they're quite powerful, these things, they're torquey. And it'll do for now. That sender will go in the Clevo. I'm not sure that worked though, I've got to test it. So I'm looking forward to making some room here because the 202 will go there. I've got to make the stand for it, which this stand that this is on wheels, and it will, I originally had it to run the grey motor on, so it was the beginning of a running engine stand. But I'll just do it with the 202 because I'll run that before I put in the car, obviously. I'm nowhere near that at the moment. Look at my poor Plymouth, covered in bedspreads and all sorts of things to protect it, but there's junk all over it. Where is my bloody tripod? I can't find it. This tripod, but if you get seasick, it's because it moves around. Look, I know my way around these old Fords, but I always get these wrong and have to redo them. I painted line, I brush paint under here and then chipped it there. And that's all Ford runs. They're not Peter runs. Right, does this go? No, it goes that way. Is that how it goes? I'm going with this for now, but I'm not being permanent about it. I want to see if the drag link's straight, because I want to put a little bit of rubber grease between there and there. Must be right. It's parallel. Got to find what I do with those. Oh, look at this. Look how dodgy this is. That's where I bogged it. I didn't even notice that. I'm just going to leave this here for now. It's loose. So is that. I just don't know what I've done with that washer. I've got some similar, but I want the right one. I've got the tie rod ends and all the, you know, the tie rod adjuster and all that sort of stuff done. I'm just going to do the handbrake now, or at least post it through there. And I think we're good. I'm wondering how to do this. I need to steam clean underneath here. A lot of this is just dirt, and then I've got that sort of coating to go over it. But you can see mud. It's been sort of paddock bashed, this thing, I think. But having said that, you know, everything's in very good condition, really. I don't remember who it was that donated this. This is out of an XD, 15th of... Cable ties in the way. April 1980. I mentioned in one of my videos that the handbrake cable next there is broken, so he donated this, and I can't remember who it was. I've lubricated the cable, and you know, the ultimate thing for this is oil, but I put a bit of grease on, then ran it through with CRC and worked it. It was a bit stiff before, now it's as free as a bird, and I've just been cleaning the ends of the cable off. There might be an issue with that. The insulator's broken. I'll try it first. If that is faulty and it errs out, it just means the handbrake light will stay on. It's a pretty benign circuit, you know, it's not going to cause any fires or anything like that. So I think we'll chuck that in now. And I've also made up, there's our hood. Whoops, and I've made up another gasket. And that's pretty straightforward stuff to do with a wad punch and a pair of scissors. Bit of gasket paper and your golden. But I knew a bloke who was so impressed that he knew someone who made their own gaskets, and I said, what's he making his own head gaskets or something? He goes, no. So I think I'm a gearbox. And I said, well, they're pretty easy, mate. Anyone can do it. And it's just a matter of using that as a pattern, scrawling it out on paper on the gasket paper, and just cutting it out. So I cut it under the car, but where I want to be is where I've got the camera, because I haven't filmed a lot of stuff, and I should have. I feel a bit guilty about it. And I can't get, I shouldn't have put this bloody drag link in. That's one of the problems. Hang on, can I just lift it up and move it? Oh, that's better. And those two pins will be moving into the dash. The two pins on the back of where the handbrake handle is. You hear it crack, you know, I didn't have it in the dash properly. Oh. Damn. Ow. And the gasket's actually quite important for water running down. And this, I don't think the XC had one of these. These are good because they stop the handbrake cable interfering with the exhaust. I elected to get new lower arms because they were very inexpensive, and these measure up the same as the others, but they've got nipples like most people, and we're just going to put them in, let them hang there. A lot of it, I haven't got the caster rod bushes yet, and the reason is because I forgot. And the other thing with that, damn. The other thing with it is I just want to get stuff off the bench. Oh, it's down the bottom. Because I've got no room. So it's sort of, you know, that's about the size of it. I can't remember which way I took these off. Oh, well, we'll just put it in there, eh? And there's, of course, a keyed washer and split pin and lock nut and all this sort of stuff to go on the back of it. I haven't ordered these parts yet, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put these in. And I'm not going to tighten anything up. These need to be tightened up once the car's at right height, so I've just tightened them enough to stop them falling down. But it gives you some idea what it's going to look like. That bloody plater lost all my lost a whole lot of spring washers too, so I've got to get the right size ones. The ones I bought aren't going to be any good, unfortunately. Well, that sort of gives you a basic idea of where we're headed. I haven't, once I got the top arms done, so I'll show you something there. Because we damaged one of the arms, or pivots, I had to get another one. It's slightly different, but the center lines and everything are the same. And the threads are the same. So it's just probably an earlier model or something. I think it'll be fine. Then we've got these bushes that have to go in. So there's 4 of those. And they will get pressed in, and the pivots there and blah blah. So it should all be good. Got the bolts ready. Got the hardware for the side ready to go here. So that should be, and I can't do it. I've got to get in there on a Friday afternoon after work. So I'll just get rid of some of the paint there and some of the paint on here and so forth. Go and punch those in and we should be golden. Once they're done, I can put the spring saddles and the ball joints on and stick them in the car with the stub axles. And it's basically a finished front end. I've just got to replace those caster rod bushes and get some discs. I haven't got those yet either. I do work in a mess. This is the very reason that I lose everything. Just because of the way, like the mess I work in. This is the canister. It looks fairly mangy. Hang on, I'm using a bad screwdriver. Now this sort of tucks in under the guard somewhere. It doesn't smell of anything. We just want to clean it up a bit. Oddly enough, well, it's a known thing. CRC, I always call this CRC. This is just WD-40. It's the same sort of stuff. Actually cleans them up quite well. Electrical appliance right next to the paint's not a great idea, but sometimes you have to watch this. There was a video that one of my kids showed me. She had, you know when your headlights go cloudy, the plastic ones? And it was a guy just spraying CRC on, and they look clear. But CRC won't do that. When it dries or when you wipe it off, eventually, it looks just as bad as it did. So I'm just mechanically sort of going through here and wiping off debris and dirt. And it's going to be fine to put back on. I'm going to put this back on just like that. Right, so I've got these 2 pivots. This one is a lot thinner than this one. It's the same girth, if you know what I mean, and the same thread and the same everything, but this is taller. Sorry, the original one's a lot taller. It's 5mm taller here. So in order to get the geometry correct, we're going to have to pull this out 2.5mm. So that'll have to be fitted with 2.5mm washers behind the control arm in order for that to maintain the same geometry as this. Let's have a look at the car. So I'm a deal because that canister, that's where the brake line runs, behind that. Nice. So I've wasted a lot of time today putting things like that in where I didn't need to, and also some of the front end stuff, but it doesn't matter. It all has to go in anyway. I'll just get some bushes. Vac lines are out here. That's a mangy piece. I'll replace that. I had to join it because I ran out, but that's the main feed for the climate control. That is the heater tap, and that's the receiver dryer, which goes off into the compressor, I think. That line over there on the steering box is just sitting there for now. That's the low pressure. But I was never happy with the bolts on the steering box. They kind of dull and a bit horrible. That's indicative of the quality of plating I'm getting back. And this is why, oh, pardon me, I'm not happy with my plater. If you look down here, look at those bolts compared to the low pressure line. Like they're all just a batch away from each other, and the variation's just not, I'm not happy at all with that. I'm not going to do it, not going to go there anymore. So anyway, that's all got to be attended to. The interior, so I think I can actually put the cluster in. The handbrake, I'm still looking for that bracket, but that's all good. That's all sitting there nicely, which is nice. This fan switch is knackered. I've got to fix that. There's no detent on it. The whole back had fallen off, if you remember. So the spring and detent ball has gone away. It's missing somewhere. It doesn't matter that much. Somebody offered me another one, and you know, hopefully that comes to fruition. Radio, I've got to rewire the clock because XD and a couple of people gave me clocks for XDs, and that's what I wanted, an earlier one. I've got to replace some globes, and it's all going rather swimmingly, really. I just put that there, that's from the Galaxy, because I keep dropping things out of the floor. So, what are we going to do next? I'm going to power up some of the loom to ensure that these lights, they're sort of diffuser lights, work. There's a diffuser there. This one's in bits. I'm blowed if I know where I'm going to be able to find one, but I reckon I can glue it together and just stick a bit of a steel strip with arrow right there just to hold it there. And sort of patch it, if you know what I mean. You don't see this, just sort of, you know, the light shines in the side of it there. It's like acrylic type stuff, but it's plastic, and then it sort of comes out of here. So it's quite an effective way of lighting things up. The cluster is old and gross. Broken lens. Let's have a look. I'm going to clean this up. So it's had, in 2010, whoopsie, that's kind of bad. It had, I'm assuming, some work done on it, well, obviously. 21st of October 2010. This thing's done 1,000,000 kilometres. Don't think it matters. We're going to leave that. That's the car. But we will take this off. I'm going to hit that with about 2,500 grit and give it a good buff, although it'll probably smash. I always had this fear of forgetting to put the hinges in before I put the plenum on, and then having to rip it off and put a gate hinge there or something. These have a pivot and then a sort of a rail channel, and to get them in we're going to go like this. That goes up into there, and then, or do we put that in first? Hang on a minute, where are we going? There it is. There we go. And it locks into that channel. They don't lock in very sturdily. They sort of wobble around a bit, which is pretty hopeless. But the bonnet, the bonnet sort of establishes where it's going to sit in terms of keeping it parallel. But it is pretty archaic, really. There's normally a rubber that sits around there that probably keeps it true while there's no bonnet on there. But that seems to be in fine. I reckon if I turn up a Delrin bush to sit in there, that might be a lot better, because that's just all over the joint. Anyway, getting excited. It's almost 3:02 time. Pretty hard to get the angle right. I've got to take this apart, or at least just take the lens and the mask off. It's got these horrendously long screws here. So I'm going to take this off. The other thing with it is it's all broken at the bottom. Using a Dremel to drill the end of the cracks just to stop them and put an adhesive behind. That fascia looks lovely and clean. That thing is terrible. So I think I'm just going to buff it, but any stubborn cracks I'll just sand with a bit of 2,500 grit. And I want to get this mask off, which is very straightforward. That didn't take any effort at all. We'll put it on the plimmy for safekeeping. That leaves us with these, and you can see the orange faded to yellow. I might even take, it might be easier actually to just take the gauges out to do it. They're just bolted in. Pretty simple stuff. But in order to do that, I bought some special needle paint from Chemist Warehouse. Well, I didn't, my daughter did. This is the wrong colour, but it has got a fluoro element to it. But I'm going to have to add a bit of yellow to it, I think. Nail polish is, I think, just QD enamel. That's all I think it is. and I'm pretty sure I'm right. And so, damn, you know, I mean, it smells like it, it looks like it. That's obviously a little bit dark, so I'm going to meddle around with it and see what I can come up with. I don't need much of it, I only need a little bit. I think it's pretty much had it though. I don't know that I've done this too well, which was probably on the tip of a lot of people's tongues. I didn't quite mix enough of it, so I'm sort of thinning it as I'm using it. Being a QD paint, it dries very, very, very quickly, and so you don't get much working time with it. So I'm just going down the needles. There's still a bit of yellow in the back of that one. Now the reason I use fluorescent on these is because at night, if you use regular paint like, well, this is a little bit fluoro, but not very, it isn't so visible. Does that cap come off? I'm not going to try. But I'm actually quite happy with that. I think that'll do. And I just use a little palette on the top of a lid. And a couple of bits of scrap paper as masking. But I don't mind that. I think it's fine. Can you see in this light? I think it's better than yellow ones. You don't see the hub where it really was quite fluoro, but oh well, I've probably made an error, but I don't think it's a bad thing. That's just made with a bit of, clean, sorry, with a bit of Windex. It doesn't look that great, to be frank. I'm not happy with it. I'll polish that. You can see the sheen on the lens is kind of rubbish, although I can probably get it a bit cleaner. I think it'll buff a lot better. This might be tricky to get in from this angle. I've given the lens a clean up as best I can, and I think that looks fine. I'm just going around in here to make sure that I've got fasteners in the right spot. I think another one goes there, another one goes there. But I can't remember what was under them. I think I just started willy-nilly taking stuff out. And that's the net result of that. 2 plugs in the back, 7-pin with a little keyway on it. And a 3-pin against there. Look at this guys there. Alright. So I know how that goes now. That will hold. I've drilled the ends of these cracks. I got carried away. I put the wiper motor in and I didn't clean it. It's all kind of dirty, but should be right. I need grommets also for around there, and I don't know what they look like. I think the others had pretty much disintegrated. I think I actually blocked up or welded up. That's the wiper wiring, and that's an earth for it there. But that goes in somewhere, plugs in somewhere, and I think I welded it up. Worst comes to worst, I'll just re-drill it. Now I've got the cluster and everything in, you know about it. I forgot to put the vacuum line in, so it's just sort of sitting out there. Bonnet cable's in, but the latch is a bit stuck at the moment. And I've also I've made a bracket to extend up behind the dash up here. So that is really sturdy, it's rock solid. I haven't done the other side yet, and I don't know what I've done with this warning panel pod. So we've got 5/16 bunny we're going to make fuel lines with. I might get another one of those for the tank vent. I don't know if I need it that big. I'll see. I'm not really sure with that. This is 3/16 bundy with new fittings for the brake lines. We've got two fronts, well 4 fronts if you like, because I'm doing the XD as well. At least I'm getting these done at the same time. These ones might be incorrect because that's not a ball flare at the end of that, and I need a longer nut for the master. May have to revisit that. And so for every brake line I get done on this car, I've got to get one done for the XD as well, because I've got a bit of a fright when I saw them last year, a little bit knackered. So We've got to bend this up and get it in the car and drink tea. These brake lines are actually quite difficult to get to look good. You can probably buy them. I know you can buy them for GTs and things like that, but I've always made my own with 3/16 Fundy and had them fitted out professionally, so you get your ball flares and your single flares and all this sort of stuff done properly. The thing I've found, the most disconcerting part, is these. These clips are rubbish. They've got a seal on them. I've tried to use these and they just fall out. I don't know if the holes for these ones are slightly different, being a later car, I'm not sure. I'm doing it the wrong way. A lovely fellow, I'll show you in a minute, donated all these clips and globes and rivets and all sorts of stuff. Interior lights, cigarette lighters, all sorts of things. And in them are these clips, which look a little bit like Toyota ones, but I'm knocking those in, putting a black self-tapper and a washer on, and they're as tight as a drum. They just won't come off. And being an old car, it's going to be kept indoors. So that seal, if you like, is to stop runoff getting in there. Even with no seal there, you're going to be pretty unlucky up in this neck of the woods to get any water in there. I can't see that even being a problem. But what I've got to do is map this out. So we've got a ball flare with a longer fitting for the master, and I'm just trying to get it right. Now, I don't use a bending thing, I just use my hand, and it's probably obvious because it looks crap, but it's all in the name of saving a quid. And if I can post that through, and I'm just bending it really progressively. Uh-oh, hang on, where's the nut? No, oh no, 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 come back. Yeah, that's a good boy. Bending it really progressively and then sort of tightening it up when I'm finished. And it is, hang on, which way is this going? Up there. It is what it is. But it'll give me some idea of the landscape when I put this up. And already I can see that I'm a mile out. So I'm still fussing in, carrying on with this. I've got it basically how I want it. It just needs a bit of straightening out. And I want this part here snug against the side of the car, under the what do you call it? To be honest. And it's just again a whole bunch of trial and error. So that should fit, and it does. So we want that also central. That's not sharp enough. I wonder if it might be worth securing that, and here, maybe we'll go up here, eh? Just in there. We'll get our black self-tapper and screw, because we're dodgy. And I need one of these guys, which I had plated. And these are ripper, these things. They seem to work so well when you screw them in. See how strong that is now? Just so much better. It's not brilliant, but it'll do. Saved a fortune. A set of brake lines, if you get them pre-made, are $360 or something. This was roller bundy tube was $18. No, $22, sorry. And getting it all fitted and all that sort of stuff was about another $40. And I've got the bottom one just sitting sort of under there, idle. I've got to make up that one, so that might be a tiny bit shorter because that's a bit long there, but it doesn't matter, that's all good. I've just got to make this one up. That's a long ball flare type thing, and I've got the wrong fitting on it, and that just exits out through that hole, so it's nice and easy. This isn't secured on the outside, but once it's secured I've got to do it so it's in the centre, and then I can put that grommet back. I don't remember what that hole there is for. That's heating stuff, and we're good. Right, well that's it for this one. I do have to get these lines modified. That needs a longer nut with a ball flare at the end. Just so I can do that from brake line, and I'll tidy up those power steering bolts. I don't like those, secure that, put some lines in. All that sort of stuff needs to be done. On the whole, I'm pretty happy with it though. You know, it's not presenting any real headaches at the moment. that's all looking rather hunky-dory. On that note, take good care of yourselves, enjoy a classic, and I'll see you soon.